We're now live. Here we are.
So good.
Yeah.
Hello, beautiful Facebook community.
I love it. There we
How
go.
good's that? How good's
Yeah.
that? I better get the live up on oh, there we are. It says there we're live. It's amazing. I just find that a little bit trippy. That's exciting. We've got a lot to talk about today, don't we, Damo?
We do. We do. I don't know who's there yet, but we'll see. We'll soon find out.
The masses will start arriving any minute. I'll just see if I can find it on my phone here. 100 Not Out is live now. Good work. All right. Great. 2,602. I hate the word followers. I hate's a strong word. I just don't like seeing 2,602 followers. I would love it if Facebook changed their ethos to 262 people living in your village, 262 community members. Nothing on social is about community and village. It's all
right?
Followers, fans. Gives me the heebie-jeebies.
I don't like followers either. I don't like followers. I don't like fans. I don't like tribe. I'd rather
community. I love it. I love it. You're
family.
All about community. I like community and village.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
All right.
Well,
Helen's
there. We'll say hi to Helen first, and
Hello,
Fiona as well. Hi there, Fiona. Great to have you both joining us today.
Comments, man. This is driving me wild. I just don't see the comments. I'm just Devo.
Don't you?
I just see Helen Pocock is watching with you. Bring them on camera. I don't see hi guys from Fiona Davis. I only see it on the live.
Oh, well.
Because you got special privileges or something.
Yeah, it's because I've got Ecamm Live here. So
I get to see the comments.
And Pete says, I'm here. G'day, Pete.
And then does he say we can start now?
Pretty much. Now we can go. Go. 3, 2, 1. Bang. Off we go.
All right. Yeah. I love it.
He's in the gym, actually. He's watching us from the gym. It's amazing.
From the gym?
Yeah.
Pete, you know the golden rule of the gym is to actually work out at the gym. Phone away. But, I love it.
Yes.
All right. I've still got to get the 100 Not Out intro and outro. 400 odd episodes in. It's my little fluffy doll that you hold in the cot at night. It just keeps me just grounded. Just in case I forget to say welcome to 100 Not Out.
A weekly show dedicated to making I think I know it. I don't know.
Yeah, there you go. See,
I've heard it.
I've only heard it 400 odd times. All right. Yeah. I'm ready.
All right.
Ready to rock?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm drinking a nice little latte I made for myself just before.
How do you do coffee in the afternoon? I just cannot comprehend. I can envisage it in the morning and I can envisage it at night over ice cream, but not much else.
Yeah.
It's a conversation for another day. All right. Ready to rock?
Everyone, just so you know, Marcus has ants in his pants, so let's get this going. Not that I'm saying you're in a hurry, but I can see like you've got a lot on your mind and you're speaking fast and you've got that. I'm on a mission. I'm on a mission from God.
Context here, so just to let people know the reason why. Yeah. I think my next book is going to be called something like "Context is Everything," because I need to explain myself here. For 7 years working in TV and radio.
Do we want to do this in the podcast, or do you want to do this now?
No, because it's a useless fun fact.
Right. Yeah.
But it gave me the shits how often the hosts would start. So you're about to record a promo or an interview and they're talking with the guest and how are you, mate? Yeah, good. And then the banter warms up and then they start telling the best jokes and you're pissing yourself laughing and it's hilarious. And then as the producer I go, all right, Damo, we've got to record now. Come on, let's do this. Let's get into the interview. You're giving away all your good stuff. You hit record and then the interview is just like, hi, Damien, how are you? And they're like, good, thanks, Marcus. Okay, that's good. And how was you? And it was just so that's why I have ants in my pants because I'm like, no, we're getting on so well. Let's do this when we're recording. So.
Okay. All right. Great. You got me pumped up. I'm ready to rock and roll.
Here we go, baby.
Yeah.
In 3, 2, and 1, let's rock. Welcome to 100 Not Out, a weekly show dedicated to helping you master the art of aging well. For the 410th week running, Marcus Pearce here with you. As always, I'm with my brother from another mother. I haven't seen him in 355 days, 21 hours and 16 minutes. I get to see him in a week. He is the country's premier wellness expert. I speak of none other than the great Dr. Damien John Christoph. DJK, how are you, legend?
Great, MP. I'm so good. So happy. It feels like the year is only just beginning today and everyone's kind of back at work and I feel good. I'm feeling relaxed. How are you feeling, mate? How's everything going up there in Queensland?
Great. I
I'm not
still don't live
Queensland.
in
Fun,
Queensland as much as
fun. I
everyone thinks I
know.
live in
I don't know
Queensland.
why I said that. I know exactly where you live, but I think because you have such beautiful weather up there, and you always have that fan spinning across your head,
It's so
and
hot.
you say it's so hot so often. I just figure, well, 45 minutes from the border, you must be in Queensland, really. So
Yeah. Yeah.
pretty much.
It's
I bet you'd rather
beautiful.
be there in Queensland.
I have, and when as you're talking, I have was it the Carpenters or someone going, "We've only just begun." I feel like this is a really nice sense of
Really?
calm and new
Yeah.
beginnings.
Yeah.
For those of you that know, I'm a little obsessed with the moon. In Ikaria, they farm by the moon, they live by the
You
moon.
are. You
People have
are.
babies by the
You
moon, but
weren't once upon a time.
there is a new moon on the horizon in a day or two, and I can
Ah,
feel that
the
intensity,
freshness.
that energy, that freshness,
Yeah.
that rah,
Yeah.
let's get into the year.
That's why
And
it's windy.
that's why it's windy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And very, very hot, although you've gone from very hot to very cold. But I think
It was nice
it's
today.
real it's good. You've got 3 seasons in 3 days.
Mm.
There
4.
is a lot of on the back of, and we won't get political about this, whether you call it Australia Day, Invasion Day, or another day.
No, that's not
I,
what we're talking about today.
that's not what we're talking about today. But what I think I'm sensing in amongst this time is, I think, and people might not feel comfortable saying it, I think there's a lot of enthusiasm amongst Australians who are enjoying the fact that they will be travelling around Australia on their holidays over the course of this year. I think for many of us, we're resigned to the fact that we won't be travelling overseas this year. Having said that, if Greece opens their doors to Australians and Australian open their doors for us to go, I'm going there in 5 seconds flat, and I'm going to go say hi to Thea, who I spoke to on the phone for about half an hour the other day, and
Yes.
they're living their life. But international aside, I think we are loving. I'm talking to people on the street. You know, where you going? What are you doing this year? And people are like, oh, I'm going to Lord Howe Island, or I'm going to Ayers Rock, or I can't wait to visit my family in Adelaide, or I'm going over to Perth. I haven't been there for 20 years to see a mate I haven't seen forever. He was my best man at the wedding. And the airline industry calls it, is it F&R, or friends and relatives? There's a word for the. There's a word for the part of the traveling community that go to visit friends and family and relatives. It's called F&R or FVR or something. And domestic airlines are rapt. They're excited because this pent-up travel demand that we all have can only manifest itself on our own in our own country, to the point where there's a third airline, which is already an established airline in regionals, but Regional Express, or Rex as pasted on the aeroplane, is going to come in and fight the turf war with Qantas and Virgin, essentially make hay whilst the sun shines.
Wow.
Because we can't go anywhere except for within our country. And I want to just ask you, because you've lived a very different 2020 to what I have. But if DeMartini was on this podcast, and he'd be calling it Saint COVID rather than COVID-19, do you think that the other side of the coin, far less spoken about, is the opportunity that we all have to experience more of our own country by way of visiting family and friends, more traveling to places? But do you see that like with a level of enthusiasm that maybe we didn't think we would?
That's such a great question. I am incredibly enthusiastic about seeing parts of Australia that I haven't seen before. Like, it seems crazy. People won't believe this, but I've never been to Noosa. Like, never been to Noosa. I've been to Sunshine Coast, but never been to Noosa, and I can't wait. So we've booked our holiday to Noosa. And
when do you go?
Well, it's actually not going to be this year. It's not till January next year. But I still can't wait to go.
Like, you're looking forward. That's the whole point. That's
I still can't wait to go. And but the other day, I called some friends of mine yesterday in Sydney, and they used to have a website called, like, they had the URL ihatesydney.com, and they're based in Melbourne. And now they reckon they're going to get the website ihatemelbourne.com because they are so in love with Sydney because of what New South Wales and Sydney has to offer, and of course the weather we have here and the premier we've got here and all that sort of stuff. Like, they just absolutely love Sydney over Melbourne, and I think I might subscribe to that website. But I still love Melbourne, and when the sun shines like it is today, I think that we live in a beautiful place with great coffee and all that sort of stuff, But I am also so incredibly excited about travelling around not only Victoria, heading down to Torquay on the weekend, being down to Phillip Island more often than we have in the last, probably 5 or 6 years. We've been down to Red Hill and Main Ridge, and we're doing all these little day trips. I'm looking forward to the Yarra Valley. I'm heading down to Tasmania in a couple of weeks' time to play golf. So there's all this sort of domestic travel that's actually taking place as a result of not being able to travel. And yes, we have incredibly itchy bums right now, Amber and I, because we love travelling and we haven't been able to travel. There's been no Greece. Somebody came into the practice the other day and she said, "Damien, how you going with all this travel?" I said, "I want to be Greek." And she goes, "We'll have you. And I said, "I just want to be Greek." So I started rattling off all the words I know in Greek, which is 6 words, and including towns. And I wanted to be there. I was feeling not only nostalgic, but very patriotic. I wanted to be Greek. I love being Melbourne, Victorian, except for when we've got a Muppet on the news.
Don't go political.
But before, when I said, how is it in Queensland, I was expecting that maybe you might suggest that you would prefer to be in Queensland rather than New South Wales from a patriotism perspective. But then I figured, well, why would you? When when everything's so good in New South Wales, you got like the top end of New South Wales, which is unbelievably great. Like,
well, this
ridiculously
good. Brings me down to what you just said about Greek and village patriotism. So let's take the country out of it. When we go to Ikaria,
yes,
Ikarians, the locals, will often talk about they are very patriotic towards Ikaria.
Icarians.
To the point where they don't really see themselves as Greek.
Keep talking. And I'm just going to close my door, but I can still hear you, and everyone else can still hear you. Yeah, keep talking.
Yeah, sure. So yesterday, which was Australia Day, just to give you some context of when we're recording this, we went to Brunswick Heads for the day. It was high tide in the morning. Took the sup down, swam on the river, jumped off the bridge, did all kinds of fun activities, and I just had one of those come to Jesus moments, like, this is the best town in Australia, bar none. I love where I live. I couldn't imagine being anywhere else, and I just feel like that because we haven't really been able to go anywhere else, particularly international, which I feel like a lot of people, particularly those that love international travel, will always see the grass is always greener, in Europe or Asia or wherever else you think is a beautiful place. But I just, I'm beginning to think that the 12 months or however long it's been since we haven't been able to travel overseas, particularly, has allowed us the opportunity to, one, assess and identify if we love where we live, and two, if we do love where we live, allow ourselves to really feel that even more, to feel that love of where we live. So I'm really beginning to kind of own, and I think the turning point for me, Damo, was an interview we did with our dear friend Shona last year. That honestly was a massive turning point for my perception of how to live my own life in this new world, and how other people view their plans for the future. But I do think that this time has allowed us to really assess and put a value on the importance of loving where you live.
I agree. But you know me, like, I'm incredibly proud of where I am, where I live, always have, like, even to the extent that I'm patriotic and proud of my house or my home, even if I rent it, So now I own it. But previously I'd be out gardening and setting up all kinds of different things because I'm very proud of where I am, and I'm proud of, wherever I place the peg in the ground. Like, if I'm playing golf at a club, I'm proud of my club. I think it's the best golf course, and if I'm going to, I don't know, if I'm patriotic to Richmond, I'm patriotic to the MCG. Like, most of the things that I do, I'm patriotic to my family. So I'm very proud of all of those sorts of things, and I defend them, So, and I find the good in them. I find the good in all of that sort of stuff. And I think it's great they're all finding the good in Australia as well. Like, it's what a beautiful place. And often people say we've got the kind of everything that everyone else has got around the world. So you look at Tasmania, it looks like New Zealand or Scandinavia. Then you kind of go up into New South Wales, and you've got all this, beautiful countryside and forest. You go up to Queensland, you got the tropics, and you've got all, the eastern seaboard is incredible. Then you go across to another part of the country that wants to be another country. You go to Western Australia, and you got all that beautiful, ocean and just wide open space, and it's just incredible. We got Adelaide with the churches, and the middle part of Australia, and Northern Territory. You got Central Australia, you got Uluru, you got the Kimberleys, you got all this unbelievable stuff here in Australia that we can actually all get to, and no wonder we love Australia so much. And it's safe. We're not getting shot at.
Yeah. So I wonder whether, again, people that are watching or listening to this that don't love where they live, if this 9 or 12 months has been or created the opportunity to actually make change, because the internal migration happening within Australia is phenomenal. The number of people that are moving from anywhere to anywhere.
Yes.
At the beginning, it seemed to be very much COVID related. Like, well, that's a COVID safe haven, so I'll move to Byron, or I'll go to Queensland, or I'll go here, or I'll go there. But I also feel as if that shift has been as a result of people going, you know what? This is just another sign, the straw that breaks the camel's back, the final chapter of enough is enough. We need a change. And it's all almost created that opportunity, all that, it's like for people that were safe and comfortable, the last 12 months has given people rise to go, nope, time to make a courageous shift. Let's do it. And I think that's been a good thing.
Yeah, it's been a great thing. It's been disastrous for my practice, I have to tell you. No, it hasn't been disastrous, but there's been people that have been in my practice, and when we love them to bits, and then because of the situation that's been in Melbourne, people have gone, you know what? I actually don't have to stick around here. I don't have to be here. Like, I used to love Melbourne, and I was rooted in Melbourne, and so I'm going to stay here forever. But they've gone, you know what? I don't have to be in Melbourne. I don't have to put up with the Four Seasons in one day. I don't have to put up with the stuff that I'm putting up with. I'm going to go where I want to go. And so, I look at Julie Hill here, who's online at the moment watching with us, and, joining in with this, and she got up and moved, and there's a whole bunch of other people that I know from my practice that have got up and moved, and I celebrate that. I think that's courageous. I think it's great. I think it's bold, and and why wouldn't you? Like, if there's nothing that's rooted you now to Melbourne, why wouldn't you go to where you want to be? It's great, and why wouldn't you want to be somewhere else in Australia?
And I think if there's one of the biggest insights that people have when they join us in Ikaria is the importance of community, and we talk about it, and everyone talks. With any health condition, you can pretty much track community down to part of the cause or lack thereof, like isolation as a trigger to mental health, whether it's depression, anxiety, anything related there.
Yeah.
Lack of connection as a cause of actually eating poorly, overeating, eating challenges, whatever it is. There's something amongst community that allows us, almost triggers a better form of ourselves, a better form of behavior. And for many people, it was an incredibly challenging year, but for some people, they actually took it as a trigger to actually make a big shift. So, Damo, I was doing a bit of Googling last night or the night before, and I just wanted to know, because I've totally taken my eyeballs off COVID numbers and who's dying and how many cases. I just completely lost interest. All love and respect to those people having challenges with it. But I Googled who's done COVID the best, because everyone's like, Australia, best country ever, you rocked it, whatever. Now, everyone's going to see this differently, but according to one mob, we didn't even make the top 5. I thought we would have been gold medal.
Wow.
Now, so Taiwan, according to movehub.com, Taiwan got the gold medal, New Zealand got the silver, Iceland got the bronze, Singapore came in 4th, and Vietnam came in the 5th. Now, they use their own different metrics, cases and deaths and all the rest of it. But all bar Vietnam have a population less than Australia. So Singapore, Iceland, New Zealand, and Taiwan have far smaller populations than Victoria. Vietnam is around 96 million. But regardless, I think, and we've said this a number of times on this podcast, but I just think it's worth reminding ourselves of, like, how lucky are we, regardless of what we think politically, because we could go on for yonks about that, and I think that's an equally important conversation. But whilst how lucky are we to live in a country where we have actually done so well? Imagine being an American at a time like this, like living in America, and given that privilege that we have to be on our shores. Imagine being Australian, one of those 30-odd thousand Australians waiting to get home. How lucky are we to be in this place right now? Do we say thank you enough to ourselves and to others in our daily life from a sense of village-like connection? Like, how good is it to be living where we live and living the life that we live? And even last night, I just read, how lucky are we? Where was I reading it? Oh, anyway, I was reading a book, and it was like, often we forget the privilege of having food to eat, a blanket over us and a roof over our head. I mean, most people, pretty much every single person watching or listening to this episode has not had to think about that for a very long time. And definitely, or maybe even ever, I don't think I've ever had to think about any of those three things. Do we make enough of a song and dance about that from a gratitude perspective? And then, I don't know about you, Damo, but often I feel like the privileged little white boy that is like, okay, if I have the privilege that I have, what am I doing as a way of behavior to say thank you? I mean, I look at you and I think, I feel like you say thank you for the opportunities you've had in your life, just through your behavior. So are we going about our lives in this, what's the word? Self-absorbed, entitled, oh, this isn't good enough, and that's not good enough, and that's not good enough. Like, do we need to smash our head against the brick wall and go, well, hold on a minute, look at all of these things that are good enough? When did you last go hungry? When did you last go sleepless? I took Maya to Brisbane for a night on Sunday. She counted 10 homeless people. She wouldn't have seen 10 homeless people in her whole life, let alone 10 homeless people in 24 hours. Like, when do we say thank you enough for the surroundings that we live in, and what do we do with it? I know I'm beginning to rant now.
That was the longest question in history, just by the way. That actually went for just under 3 minutes. So thanks for asking that question, Busy. Now, I'll come back. You said so much. You asked so many things in that question, which I really love. I think the first thing to understand is that I think just as a matter of course, our society is not as grateful generally as what we could be. We could be. And that's just with things that people do for each other. And I'm saying society because I'm so grateful for all the people that watch us week in, week out, listen to us week in, week out. And I know that most of them, maybe not all of them, but most of them are grateful that we do this week in, week out, and that we have this sort of kind of connection. So I also think that we could say thank you to a lot more people and show gratitude to a lot more people about the things that they do in their life and for us, not just you and me, but for each other or our families or our communities, so on and so forth. And there's ways in which we recognize people, but we don't necessarily offer up slatherings of gratitude. It just doesn't necessarily come naturally. The next part to that question, to that long question, could be an answer that might be along the lines of when you've got what you've got, that's your baseline. And so that's kind of what you expect. So, if you're lucky enough to be born in our country as a citizen of Australia, then the conditions that we've got are what we've grown up with and that we've built. And so that, then we look at the people that are over, the tennis stars that are here in Melbourne, cracking the wobblies about their accommodation not being great, or they've had to go into 14 days of quarantine, despite earning $100,000 just to turn up to play a tennis game. Just to turn up, they're earning $100,000. And that's all of them. Some people might go, well, you're very privileged. And then I think to myself, well, hang on a second. This is just their set point. This is kind of what it is that they're used to. And so, that's kind of, where I'm going to from that. But I also do agree that, yes, we could acknowledge all of the great things that we do have and be more grateful for all the things that we do have. And, great experience for Maya to see all those people that are homeless. And I think, in taking Jackson around the world, he's also seen those homeless people. And even in Melbourne, you see a lot of homeless people. So it's always good to count your blessings and to see, to be aware of the haves and have-nots, and so on and so forth. But it comes down to our conditioning. It comes down to, the way in which we've, learned to pay gratitude. I know that you're very strong in that in your family. Like there's, what are the three things that you're grateful for each day? And Shona, gave you and I a gratitude rattle when we were in Ikaria, and we used to shake that up.
It's broken 8 times, but I still got it.
The gratitude rattle is unbelievable. We pull that out when we recognise that we're not showing gratitude enough. We pull that out and we shake that up. And what are the things that we're grateful for? And so we could do it better. There's no doubt about it.
Great comments, and thank you for what you said, Dame. I feel really chuffed at this conversation. I think it's so many wonderful things have been discussed. Just the importance of loving where you live, knowing the village of, like you said, 100 not out listeners and viewers, and we are so grateful to have so much support. And like you said, Damo, it would feel a little bit hollow. As much as you and I would love chatting every week, and we'd probably still do it anyway, it's even nicer to be able to interact with our incredible community.
Yeah.
Week in and week out. We're on the verge of 8 years together. 100 not out. Cannot wait to celebrate that milestone. This has been a joy to record with you, Damo. Thank you for your wisdom as always.
Thank you, mate. Thank you. Thanks for bringing the topic up. I think it's a great one. Really great topic. And I'm looking forward to the next topic, which I came up with.
The next topic, all you're doing, we're going to discuss reinvention. It is one of the great points of resistance for people as they get older, but perhaps one of the most necessary conversations you can have with yourself and others. So get ready for that on the next edition of 100 Not Out. For more info on Damo, folks, head on over to damianchristoph.com, myself, marcuspearce.com.au. And until next time, as always, continue to make the rest of your life the best of your life.
Bye for now.
Don't go anywhere, Facebook. We're still on Facebook, Damo?
Yeah, we're still there on Facebook. We are.
I cannot see one comment. I'm so sorry.
You what? You can't what?
Can't see one comment. I cannot see a thing.
There must be a setting.
Now I've got him.
Maybe scroll up.
I love my town. Yes, love Australia. We are so lucky in Australia. Yep, good. Got him. Julie Hill, Pete Lennon. The yep would have been 3 minutes shorter if not for MP's question.
I love it.
Yeah, the episodes would only be 5 minutes long if not for my ranting and raving and.
No, right. But that's okay. We love that.
I found a colleague, an ally in long talking the other day. Have you ever heard of Jim Collins? Wrote the book Good to Great.
Yeah.
I always thought he would be really brief in his words. Very direct. He did an interview with Tim Ferriss, and he actually interviewed Tim Ferriss for about 10 minutes at the beginning without Tim Ferriss knowing, and he literally talked nonstop. I was so shocked and relieved that there was someone else that didn't mind a chat.
Let me just tell Jackson that he might need to take my car. Hey, Jacko. Yeah. You might need to take my car to the physio, and I'll meet you there. Because we're going to do another episode.
Thanks, Jacko.
Sorry, everybody, for that announcement. But, yes. Well, Jackson's injured his shoulder, so he's having to do the plank. He's doing planks at the moment.
Can you just tell us? We just like to know. That's all. Just let him know that we would like to know. That's all. We would just like to know. All right. Okay. I'm sure he can hear me.
Yeah, he can hear you.
He can hear me. All right. Are you ready to rock?
Yeah.
Okay. In 3, 2.
Oh, wait. I've got to change the topic on the running across here.
Oh, yeah. There we go.
Reinvention.
Yep. 4:11, I think.
Great.
Okay. 4:11.
What about Russell Brand interviewed Eckhart Tolle, and it went for 1 hour 45, and Russell Brand asked two questions.
That's so good.
That's great.
That's so good.
That's great.
All right, 4:11. Here we go. In 3, 2, and 1. Hello and welcome to episode 411 of 100 Not Out. This is a weekly show dedicated to helping you master the art of aging well. Marcus Pearce here with you with the king of reinvention. He is Australia's number one wellness expert, the greatest chiropractor on the planet. Now that my wife is officially retired, DJ K is officially my number one chiropractor. Hello to Margaret Tay, who I do see regularly. DJ K, naturopath extraordinaire. How are you, Dead Set Legend?
So good, PC. So good, PC. I'm really good. I'm really good. I played golf. I didn't tell everybody before, but I played golf yesterday. I played today and I played on Monday. So Monday was 42 degrees. Yesterday was 16 or 17 degrees. So it was like a day apart. The difference in the temperature was about 20 degrees. That's the difference. That's the variation from the same time the day before. And then today, ranged from about 18 to 25 degrees. So there's a bit of fluctuation. But it's amazing how much you've got to, change things up within your body in order to manage those, shifts in temperature. Anyway, last night while I was trying to get to sleep, I could hear Amber on the Instagram and I was like, okay, what's going on here? So I said, what are you doing? She said, I'm just looking at Instagram. I go, okay, cool, no worries. So I grabbed my little phone out and I jumped onto Instagram just to see what was happening. I haven't been on there for such a long time. And there was our great friends, Carla and Emma Pappas. And I was looking at Carla and Emma Pappas thinking, my gosh, girls, you have reinvented yourself. You have both changed so much. Do you remember when we first met Carla and Emma Pappas, the Merrymaker sisters? Do you remember when we first met those girls? They were doing desserts and they loved dessert and they would eat like paleo salted desserts and raw desserts and yep. What was that? Say that again.
Salted caramel.
Salted caramel was their favorite flavor, and they were just eating desserts. But they thought that they were eating healthily because they were eating paleo. And so they'd been sucked in by paleo and they decided that if it was paleo, they could eat all the dessert that they liked. Well, that was disastrous. Like, it had a massive effect on their health and well-being, and I don't think they liked it. And I haven't asked them, I haven't spoken to them about the impact of eating all of that dessert on their health and well-being. But I can tell you what, they have reinvented themselves, and now they're doing yoga classes and Pilates classes and fitness classes and all kinds of stuff on their Instagram, and they look and sound amazing. Like, they have changed. They have reinvented themselves, and I was impressed. It got me thinking, where have we reinvented ourselves? We're 100 not out. We're 411 not out. And I wondered, have we reinvented ourselves? And I thought, well, I'd ask PC today, what have you done to reinvent yourself through the years and over the ages?
Wow, this is, you're talking my language. And yes, well done to the Marys. They've got the Mary Body app, and they do it very well. And Bronnie Ware, the Marys and I have an annual lunch together up in Palm Beach. Don't come find us.
Mm-hmm.
The Paps will come find us, Damo. But it's big news when the Marys and Bronnie and I get together. But
I bet.
That annual is coming up in the next couple of weeks or so. But
well, congratulate the girls for me.
I will, and I'm so glad you brought this conversation up because it is a big one. I think, look, you and I can tell some stories of reinvention. I think it's important, but I would really love to challenge the listeners as to where have they reinvented? Where have you, our wonderful community, reinvented? Because reinvention is something that must never end. And if you look at the incredible people that we interview on this podcast, reinvention is almost essential for longevity and doing it well. So, look, for me, I often say I'm in my third career. I started off in the sports media landscape, then reinvented myself in the wellness world by really committing to chiropractic and learning about health and wellness, and did that for 7 years, and then moved into longevity, exceptional life design, and the rest. So for me, that's how I envisage reinvention. I could look at it through going vegan or doing other things. I think stopping big habits like quitting smoking was a massive source of reinvention because it was a reinvention of my identity. I think the only real way to quit smoking is to have an identity transplant from I'm a smoker to no, I don't smoke, or I'm a non-smoker. You can't be a smoker trying to quit or a smoker having a break. You've just got to change your identity. And I think, I have great respect for you really reinventing yourself, professionally. You're the only person I know. I still want to know, is there anyone else that's a naturopath and a chiropractor? But
Yeah, there's a
that
few. Yeah.
there are.
Yeah.
I don't know them. Sorry. So
They're in
for me, you're
Queensland,
the
actually.
only
There's a couple
one.
in Queensland.
But
Peter
that is a
Peter
massive,
Buchanan.
that's humongous.
Mm.
So yeah, why don't you talk about? I would love to know. I would love to know how you feel reinvention benefits your life. That would be the big one.
Well, for me, I think the ability to spin or the ability to pivot is really important. And I mean, that's a term that people overuse. I think, you got to pivot, or, whatever it is, push. I suppose just, pushing on and just, continue to live life. I think you just don't want to roll over. So if you roll over, then you've missed the opportunity to live. So if something doesn't work, then change it up and do the next thing. Or if you get bored of something, then change it up and do the next thing. Or if you feel like doing something different, then do something different. Like, there's nothing wrong with doing that. There used to be this age-old thing where you'd stick in a job, you'd find your career, and that'd be what you do. As you said, you're on your third career. I think I'm on, I don't know which career I'm into now. Like, I definitely have a number of careers going at any one point in time. But definitely from a chiropractic perspective, that was a number of careers into. Then I had Forage, and I had WBC, and obviously Wellness Couch, and then I let that go, and you took it over. And so, there's lots of different things. Maybe one day I'll be a pro golfer. Who knows? I don't think I'm ever that good, but I suppose for me, I find it okay. I find it okay to continue to evolve and change and get ready to do the next thing. But what I've also found beneficial is to keep what worked in the previous bit and continue to move forward with what worked in the reinvention of what I'm going to do next, if that makes sense. So,
Absolutely.
like, don't lose it. Don't get up and, take your bat home. Like, you don't just, kick the stumps and put your bat under your arm and go, I'm going home, I'm not going to play anymore. Like, take what worked and continue to work on it. That's what I've been doing. So
this is really good. I love this because so many people feel like they have to have these very much clean breaks from one career to the next. And I think you couldn't have said that any better. I'm so glad you said that. People go, hey, do you feel bad that you left the media? And I go, well, podcasts are radio. Speaking is TV, and blogs and emails and everything is print. Like, for me, there's no difference. It's never changed. It's just the conversation, the topics have changed. Yeah. And that's my way of going. I've brought those skills and everything into a further career. And I think, as you say that, it makes me think of when you feel the yearning. The yearning's not the right word. Like, I know that at some point in my life, I will either make a movie, direct a movie, write a movie, or do something with a movie. I am into, and I can tell because if I look at my bookshelf at the moment, I've just. Do you remember watching Any Given Sunday with Al Pacino?
No.
If you love sport, it's a sports drama anyway. And it was directed by Oliver Stone. I've never seen Scarface. I've never seen Platoon. I've never seen Wall Street. Anyway, Oliver Stone has made movies about some pretty challenging topics in American culture. But what I find is there's some topics or some things that I just can't help but be attracted to. And I think that with anything in your career, life purpose, or your hobbies, you're on track with them when you can't help being attracted to those things. Like, why is it golf and not squash? You don't know. You just can't help that you love golf and not squash. Why is it squash. Richmond and what's that?
I love squash.
Oh, sorry. Why is it golf and not, I don't know, lawn bowls?
I love lawn bowls.
Wrong guy. Anyway, but you know what I'm saying? We cannot help the things that we love. And it's really important from a reinvention perspective to give yourself permission to love the things that you just love. And the more you try and figure out why, the more you just give yourself the opportunity to not do it. And I think that's our biggest obstacle.
I'm just laughing because Julie Hill has just said something very nasty. She's written, "Yes, why Richmond?" I want to know that. Why not, Julie? That's what I'd be saying. Yeah, I love the idea of permission. I have always spoken about that, about permission, and even from a weight loss perspective, when I was kind of trying to master the art of helping people lose weight, which is very difficult. And, the podcast that we did with Nick Fuller a couple of weeks ago was absolutely incredible. So if you missed that one, go back to listen about weight loss with Nick Fuller. That was incredible because I think he's mastered the art of weight loss. Because it gives people permission. Even when I was trying to help people with weight loss, I was giving people permission to choose whichever foods they wanted, knowing that there were certain foods that would work and there were certain foods that wouldn't. Or knowing, when you're trying to manage heart disease or lifestyle or any of those sorts of things, giving people permission to do whatever it is that they like. It's like with our push-up challenge at the moment. We're giving people permission to do however they want to get their 60 push-ups done in a day. You've got permission to do that sort of thing. In life, it's great to feel like you've got permission, and I love the use of that word that you used just before. Permission. Give yourself permission to change, but also take with you the things that you love.
And I think we have to be cognizant of the fact that society doesn't want to give you permission. If you look at a number of one-liners, I've just written a couple down here. A leopard doesn't change its spots. I made this one up, but something like this: a flower can't be a tree. People often say like, you are what you are.
Did that come from you?
Yeah, I just wrote that down. I know, profound, right?
Wow. Can someone put that on Facebook and put Marcus Pearce underneath it so it's in time?
But people do this to themselves, whether it's in their marriage. I can't leave the marriage. I can't start the marriage. I can't leave my job because, I've been told that it's almost like a worth thing. I've been told that this is only my pay scale and this is only my job set and I can't do anything else. The whole idea of permission is inherently, argued against by many people. So it takes some courage. Well, I have great respect for you, Damo. It takes some courage to actually go, you know what, like, stuff the establishment. I am, which you said this about your mum as well. Like, your mum and dad split up at a time when it was like taboo. The establishment was like, no, people will get married, they stay married.
Mm-hmm.
This is really important. You've got to understand, our listeners, for that are struggling with this concept of reinvention. It's not meant to be easy. The whole idea, it's like, to sound really cliche, but it's true. Like, for the caterpillar to become a butterfly, that stuff ain't easy. Like, that's reinvention 101.
Yeah.
And no one can come along and crack the chrysalis. That's not how to reinvent yourself. People trying to do it for you, or you hoping someone does it for you. You've got to go through that struggle. I mean, Damo, tell them your story. I mean, you studied chiropractic on, just tell me if I'm going too far here. You studied chiropractic on credit cards. You sold a house or something to try and pay for your tuition. You busted your gut to like reinvent yourself. Like, you didn't go down easy street.
Oh no, but I don't know whether or not life is meant to be easy street. I don't think it's meant to be too tough, and you make it kind of whatever it is that you make it. But yeah, I went to New Zealand with I think $2,500 or something. It wasn't very much. Maybe it's a little bit more than that. And then I bought a car I bought a car with the cash that I had from a market. I put my first year school fees on a credit card, and then I had no money to pay rent. I had to kind of work out how I was going to do that. So then I started, doing naturopathy, and I didn't have any money to, buy any products to prescribe to people. So I put them onto credit as well, and I racked up a pretty big debt pretty quickly. And then because, and then times were tough, and so I would live on 36 eggs a week. That's pretty much that's what I would do. That's what I did. I just ate eggs, and if I could get some bread, I'd have bread and eggs. Otherwise, it was just eggs and pepper and salt. And that was from my flatmates. Was the pepper and salt? It wasn't my pepper and salt. Well, I didn't even own olive oil. So I'll do that. In fact, there's a story that Brian Kelly tells that when I left his house after I moved out from Brian, because he gave me a leg up for a few weeks, maybe a few months, I still had a key, and I went home at lunchtime to make eggs at his house because I still had the key, and they walked in and they're like, "What are you doing here?" I said, "Oh, I'm just making eggs," So I broke into the house to make some eggs because I just didn't have any cash. So it took me a little while to kind of get my feet, settled in New Zealand. But I just had to do what I had to do to get the job done. That's kind of what you got to do. And part of reinvention is that you just have to do everything you've got to do. Reinventing, I don't think, is as easy as going, well, tomorrow I'm going to be a policeman, or tomorrow I'm going to be a chiropractor, or tomorrow I'm going to be an accountant. There's steps that need to be taken. I mean, obviously there's people that, try and shortcut it, don't do a course in it, and read a book about it and go, oh, well, now this is what I am. We see this all the time, people trying to do stuff that they're not aptly skilled or qualified for, and bring people into disrepute or bring an industry into disrepute because they want to shortcut it, and just clip the ticket. But a lot of skill goes into changing your career or reinventing yourself. It's not just deciding, well, that's what I'm going to be. You don't just put it out to the universe like you would in The Secret. That's not what it is. You've actually got to do stuff.
It's messy. It's really messy. And I think people must get over the fact that it's not Instagram clean. It's not glossy white. There's no clean cut, easy access to reinvention. And this is, I remember we haven't interviewed him. I'm still not positive he can speak English, but China's hottest grandpa, Wang Daishun, spoke about
That'd be great, wouldn't it?
Oh, pretty much saying that, like, as soon as you tell yourself you're old is when you start aging. I think that's his line, and that could be for someone at 21 or 31 or 51. It doesn't matter. But reinvention is exactly the same. As soon as you tell yourself you can't, you won't.
That's true. You're right.
And reinvention can only be done when you realize how badly you really want it. And I think what you said, Damo, people doing short courses and calling themselves a nutritionist or a coach of some kind, like, that's fake reinvention. The reinvention that is real is people that have actually gone through a lot of gone through a lot of mud, sweat, and tears to actually come out the other side, because then they can mentor, they can teach, they can teach from experience. And experience does really have to be earned. You have to earn your stripes to actually be able to share a message, be able to prescribe, to be able to support people, is something that takes time. But, as much as that, it does take energy. The money is something I think, just based on your own story as well, like, you can always find the money if you really want it bad enough.
Yes, absolutely.
And the money is the least of your concerns. I think, what you just said, and I'm sure with a few of my examples as well, is like, I never worry about the money when I'm reinventing. I know that if I'm reinventing for the right reasons, for the right purpose, that it will work itself out.
Yeah.
You know that, if you're gonna study chiropractic and you're going to be a great chiropractor, you know that if you do it well, you'll earn some good money and you'll pay it back.
Yeah.
I think it's really important. That's a really good test of your commitment to reinvention.
Yeah. Whatever
it is for the listener or viewer that you're considering reinvention, financials shouldn't be the biggest roadblock, because I would say if you think that's the biggest roadblock, you don't want it bad enough. The biggest roadblock, I reckon, tell me what you reckon, Damo, is ridicule from family, ridicule from friends, self-doubt. Self-doubt that can linger at any time of the day or night, and sometimes during times like when circumstances come up that you're not expecting. And knowing how you respond to when any of those scenarios come up.
Yes, but Julie Hill says it beautifully. She says your vision would have been powerful. And I think that's really what it is. Like, if you're really not clear on the reason why or what it is that you want to do and achieve, then you probably just flounder around. This is what's, likely to happen, So for me, my vision, I'd made a massive sacrifice to leave naturopathy to become a chiropractor, and did that in Melbourne. But the biggest sacrifice I made was leaving Jackson in Australia with his mum when we separated and moved to New Zealand to become a chiropractor, so that I was not going to stuff it up. Like, I was just not going to muck it up. Like, for me, it had to be an excellent result. Like, it had to be an outstanding result. I wanted to be the top of the class. And if I wasn't top of the class, I was incredibly close to being the top of the class. I wanted to leave a mark and to do something in New Zealand that was worthwhile, and so I did downsize me, and I wrote articles and was on, in the newspapers and in the news. I really wanted to do something that I could bring back to Australia, so that it was all worthwhile missing those years of Jackson's growth and development, right? Because it was big. Like that was really big. We didn't have Skype in those days. I think Skype maybe came out, I don't know, like
2005, I reckon.
Yeah, like it was a couple of years into me being in New Zealand, and it wasn't that good. Like, we're not talking the quality of Skype that we've got now. And mobile phones, you didn't have FaceTime. I think I was still using my BlackBerry. I'd still use my BlackBerry right now, I have to tell you. But I was still using my BlackBerry. So the ability to communicate is very different. And flying backwards and forwards wasn't that easy. It wasn't as easy as what it is today. Like to get through the airport was an hour, there or leaving and an hour arriving, and at least, whereas these days it's 15 minutes to just jump on a plane, really. So it's so easy now compared to what it was, but it had to be a great result. And I think that's a really important thing. Like if you want to change what's going on and you want a great result, be so crystal clear about what it is that you want to be when you finish, when you grow up, I suppose, is what you'd say. So the hardest thing for me, Piercy, about writing a book has been that I want it to be a great result and I can't get clear on that. So me reinventioning myself to become an author is really difficult because I can't get crystal clear on the message about what it is, what's it going to be that's going to give a great result. It's got to be a great result. Same as your book. Your book is a great result. It's even harder now for me to write a book because your book is so good. It needs to be a great result. So these are the things, I suppose. It's not self-belief or trust for me. It's about having a powerful vision. And Julie hit the nail on the head.
I love it, Julie. Damo, I love your honesty. I love your wisdom. I love that you said that. And you brought it back to legacy as well. If you were going to leave Jackson for that period of time to reinvent yourself, what was it all for? Who was it all for? Yep. And that's a really good question with reinvention. Knowing that it's going to be tough and knowing that it's going to be challenging for you and others, who does it impact the most? And is it worth it? That's got to be, they're the hard questions that have to be asked.
You've got to make it worth it. Yeah.
Got to make it worth it. Oh, this has been good, Damo. That is 23 minutes.
Wow.
20 minutes plus GST, another little value bomb for the community. That is sensational. Thank you for your wisdom as always. Great, man. Next time I see you, it'll be in the flesh.
You'll be here.
I'll be here.
You'll be
here.
We'll
do some push-ups together, record some 100 not out episodes, and record a very special video of our Byron Bay longevity experience. All the information coming soon at some point.
Yes, I've got a feeling that Helen Pocock might want to be there. That's my feeling.
She will. We'll tell her all about it.
Yeah.
We'll tell her all
Julie
about
Hill might. Wendy might. Yep. Pete Lennon might.
Go big. All right. To everyone that wants more of Damo, head on over to damiankristof.com, myself, marcuspierce.com.au. And until next time, as always, thank you for your support of the podcast and continue to make the rest of your life the best of your life.
Bye for now.
Boom, boom.
Boom, boom. Thanks, everybody, for sticking around for so long. We're, great,
good.
A lot of engagement. So, yeah, wonderful. Thanks.
I'll see if I can see it.
Heaps of love hearts and laughers and all that sort of stuff. What are they called? Smiley face emojis and blah, blah, blah. It's good.
Good. Hey, I just did a love heart, so I feel like I'm engaged. Samantha Jinx Butler, good work. I'm just looking back on it now. Wendy Stewart, yeah, nice. I'll look at them later. That's great. That was good, Damo.
Yeah, great.
Great topic by you.
Yeah, great. Yeah, Jules loved it and Debs loved it. Wendy loved it. So good. I reckon Pete would have loved it. He's probably just in the middle of a set right now. At the moment at the gym.
Yeah. Get that chest out.
Yep.
Get that chest out.
Push-ups. That's all it's required to get the chest out. How's your chest going, Piercy?
It's humongous. Oh, I'm glad, Debbie Bunyard. Great chat. Great topic. You know what? We haven't done our little shout out to friends and family not listening lately. We might have to resume that in a little while.
Well, I was locked and loaded. I was going to call Wendy and Deb out because they haven't been here for ages. I was going to say, obviously, Wendy down in the dumps because of what's happening, the discord that's happening down at Hawthorn at the moment. She's obviously, hiding her head in shame, as I would be if things are that bad in my club. Obviously, they're not.
Don't. You can't talk at the moment.
But I can because
chat.
it's all we only know part of the story. But anyway, but Dimmer's fine. He's all right. But it's great that Wendy and Debbie are back. So, yeah. And Julie wants to know, yes, Wendy, what is your excuse? Pete Leonard says, my gym session is a result of last week's movement accountability recording. Oh, how good's that? Good stuff. Love that, Pete. Good on you, mate.
Love it. That is so good, Pete. Can't wait to get to Canberra. See the great Pete Lennon.
Yeah.
Travel.
Yeah.
Let's just do a national tour, Damo. Let's go to all the little hotspots, not COVID hotspots, the 100 not out hotspots. Let's do a live recording. If we were retired and I didn't have 78 kids, we could get a combi and just travel around Australia, recording 100 not out together, bromance style, Thelma and Louise style, and just have little get-togethers at little cafes, pubs, RSLs, bocce clubs, bowls clubs, wherever they'd have us.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Record episodes. Geez, that'd be good.
Oh, it'd be fun, wouldn't it? Yeah.
I'll have to bucket list that.
Apparently Facebook has dropped us off their algorithm, Wendy's saying. She reckons that Facebook stopped telling us that we were going live. Unbelievable.
Yeah, we're too old. We're too old for Facebook.
What do you mean?
Oh, well, we've been going for nearly 8 years. We're just not cool enough. Like, you got to be young and hip.
What are you talking about? That's never stopped us.
It does with Facebook. You become too established. They want us to start paying money. When you become popular, you've got to pay to play. You got to tell people you got to pay money.
Wow.
The commercial beast that is Facebook. Anyway, enough of that.
Facebook.
All right. So next Wednesday, folks, if the flights are on time, we'll do a Facebook Live together recording.
Yeah, I reckon that maybe Wendy decided to unlike us or something like that. That's why it stopped. Because Pete says he told me it was going live. I don't know what's going on there.
Don't worry, Wendy. I can't even see the comments. So
same as Sam. Samantha Jinx Butler says, you're still live for me. So, I don't know, Wendy. Maybe it's something. Maybe it's that Hawthorne thing or something. I don't know. Anyway.
All right. You go. Julie Hill says, you guys are awesome. That's good. Please go on the road. There you go. Please go on the road.
Please go on the road.
Remember, be careful of your words, Marcus. What did I say, Julie? All right. I'll figure it out. All right.
Wendy's just told me to shut up. I think that's hilarious. I love it. All right. Yeah. Take care, everybody. We are live next week. Wendy, put it in your diary. Set an alarm, 3 o'clock from my house. PC and I will be live. 4 o'clock,
because my plane doesn't arrive till 2:20.
4 o'clock next week. Yep. All right.
Yep.
All righty.
Turn on the weather.
See ya. Catch you later. See ya. Bye. Oh, I better push finish. End broadcast.